Well, once again, it's that's time of year, and I appreciate you all being here and assembling because today we're going to present the highest award that the state of Idaho can bestow on one of her citizens. The Idaho Medal of Achievement is an award that was created by executive order in 2015 that seeks to identify individuals that personify the best qualities and attributes in an Idaho citizen. Specifically, this award seeks to recognize individual Idahoans for their exceptional, notorious, and inspirational service to the people of Idaho. And by any measure, I believe the person that we are about to name fits that criteria to a T. I know that many of you noticed that we did not present this award as we did last year at the State of the State address. And I think we were tempted to because it was a tremendous forum for the recipients of this award. But I think that you will agree with us that delaying until today, it was more appropriate, even though we had to wait a week to name this individual on this particular day, a day that our nation sets aside to remember Martin Luther King, and the work, self-sacrifice, and dedication of those who have gone above and beyond in the name of human rights. It is my high honor to let you know that we are here today to honor a person who has played a central role in that effort in Idaho. I am pleased to have the members of the Human Rights Commission, including Senator Buckner Webb, members of the Idaho Medal of Achievement Commission, as well as my good friend and colleague and predecessor, Phil Batt, who played a very important role during his tenure, year after year, doggedly pursuing workers' compensation insurance to ensure it was extended to migrant farm workers and to all for their human right that they deserve. I'm going to invite Governor Batt to step forward and say a few words in a moment, but at this time I want to unveil the person who has received this award and Medal of Achievement. Governor Batt, you'll step forward. We'll just throw it at the top.
Not very tall. There we are.
It's our pleasure to announce that Marilyn Schuler is the 2018 recipient of the Idaho Medal of Achievement. As you all know, Marilyn passed away last year about this time, but her legacy is one that will stand the test of time, and the frailty of the human spirit, but that continues because of the ideals that she championed and was stalwart, impervious, and immortal. Marilyn Schuler had obstacles and great challenges in her life, but she was never one to focus on the negative. Afflicted with polio at an early age, she never let the frailty of her disability get in the way of her life's hard-charging direction. And in fact, she turned that disability into an ascent, force for good, by letting it shape her approach to empathy, to compassion, and to culminating in a dogged determination to get things done. Marilyn Schuler began her career in the early 70s advocating for the creation of public school kindergartens. Not satisfied with that success, she went on from there, leaving her mark on our school system, to leaving her indelible imprint on the Human Rights Commission for 20 years. When you thought of human rights, you thought of Marilyn Schuler. It is now my distinct privilege to invite one of my predecessors in this office, my mentor, and a man I am proud to call my friend, Governor Phil Batt. Phil, would you please come on?
Thank you. It's a real privilege to be part of this ceremony. There are many folks in Idaho who have put a lot of effort, money, and time into improving and protecting human rights in our beloved state. However, there has been nobody who has approached the desired results in such an effective fashion as Marilyn Schuler. She has been undoubtedly our all-time champion and spokesman in pointing out our human rights deficiencies and finding ways to correct our failures. There was no one in the state's history who has accomplished so much by improving our state's codes and our laws. But further, her example has inspired hundreds of Idahoans, even in private life, to do a better job of treating other people with respect and mutually improving our contact with others. It is fitting that we honor Marilyn Schuler with the Idaho Medal of Achievement today and reflect on her unmatched improvement of human rights in Idaho.
Thank you, Phil. Now I'd like to invite the chairman of the Idaho Medal of Achievement Commission, former Supreme Court Chief Justice Linda Koppeltraut, to say a few words. It was the commission's job to whittle this field of over 60 nominees down to submit a finalist for my consideration.
Thank you, Governor. Good morning to all. I'm pleased to be here today on behalf of the Medal of Achievement Commission, and I want to acknowledge Skip Oppenheimer and Kirk Sullivan, who are members of the commission with me, who are here this morning. Unfortunately, Barbara Morgan, who is our fourth member, was not able to be here today. I think it's very fitting that we're all here today to honor Marilyn Schuler, because certainly her life, her accomplishments, are exactly what the Medal of Achievement was intended to recognize and to honor. And to the Schuler family, I extend my congratulations as well. As the governor mentioned, we had more than 60 nominations for the award this year. And I think, as Marilyn certainly exemplifies, they were high-quality nominees. And the commission went through a lengthy process in terms of studying backgrounds and information about the nominees in order to reach our final group that we submitted to Governor Otter for his selection. And I want to encourage any members of the public, either here today or anyone listening, to consider nominating somebody for this wonderful award. The nominations are open until the end of March. It's a very easy process. You need only go to the governor's website, and the information is there for you to fill out. It's not onerous. We just ask you to name the person that you are nominating and say very briefly what it is that you think qualifies them for this honor. And then the commission will take it from there. We'll do the background information, we'll set the meetings and so on, and then make the final determination of up to 5 names to submit to the governor. So I strongly encourage you, if you know of anyone that you think deserves this high honor, by all means, please nominate them, and we look forward to seeing that. So, on behalf, again, of the commission, congratulations to Marilyn and to her family on this wonderful achievement. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, I would like to invite Benjamin Earward to make a few comments. Ben is the person who is the current director of the Idaho Human Rights Commission, to talk about the unveiling task, an enviable task, I should say, probably unveiling at times too as well, in following such a giant in her footsteps. Ben?
Thank you, Governor Otter, Governor Matt, Chief Justice Linda Koppeltraut. I appreciate all of you taking the time to be here, because human rights in Idaho is a significant and important part of everyday life and building community around the state. Now, Marilyn was not a revolutionary or a radical. She studied political systems and communications, and she learned to work within the system to effect change. And Marilyn, if I could describe her in one word, it would be tenacious. I came to Idaho in 1997, and I knew of Marilyn at that time and didn't meet her until many years later. But if I could describe her with one word, it would be tenacious. She had a tenacious appetite for justice and for building community, not in a divisive way, but in a way that brought people together to build strength and to build strong communities. Dr. King talked about beloved community. And I think Marilyn embodied that truly in her roles, both as an individual, as a citizen, as the chair and director of the Human Rights Commission. I was talking to one of my predecessors, Pam Parks, about Marilyn and asking stories about her life and her work. And Pam told me that when Marilyn was studying for her Master's of Public Communication, that she was tenacious in understanding the political system in Idaho. And instead of doing just an interview or two of legislators, she interviewed every single member of the legislature in the House and the Senate. And it represents and it reflects Marilyn's commitment to knowledge and using that knowledge for the betterment of society. So I can't think of a more fitting person to be honored today with this honor, the highest honor that Idaho will bestow on its citizens. So thank you to Marilyn's family for being here today. Thank you to the Commission of Human Rights, to the Governor and the Governor's staff. This is a great honor, and I'm pleased to be here to reflect on Marilyn's life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Ben. And now I would like to call forward Colonel Tom Schuler to the front of the room. Tom, would you please come up? Step over here, Tom. Phil? Congratulations.
Thanks.
As you all know, this is a posthumous award. Tom is one of Marilyn's two sons. David, her other son, lives in New York and could not be with us today. Tom was also almost not able to be with us today because as recently as last week, Tom was deployed overseas with the Idaho National Guard. But I'm happy to say Tom was able to make it home in time for this day. Tom, on behalf of the grateful state, thank you very much for your mother and her great efforts on behalf of human rights in Idaho. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Governor Otter, Governor Matt, Justice Stroud. Very humbling to be here. My mother was a person who did not seek these kind of things, these awards, and I know she'd be very embarrassed. Very humble. I think she liked kind of being the behind-the-scenes person, who tried to get the team together, get the efforts head in the right direction, and kind of be that silent partner. So I know that she would be squirming up here, wishing that someone else was receiving this honor. I have a house full of her honors, so I know that she has done many great things, and as her son, my brother and I could not have been luckier. My mother and father were not native Idahoans, but moved here 55 years ago, right after they graduated from college. And I know she loved this state, and the fact that this award is minted with Idaho silver, it means a lot to us, and I know it would mean a lot to her because she did love this state and everything that we together as a state have been able to accomplish. So again, thank you all very much, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Tom. Before we conclude, I want to thank the Coeur d'Alene-based Hecla Mining Company as our title sponsor. Hecla has been very generous in minting these awards. In fact, I think we have 3 more to go, 3 left. And so with the help of Kirk Sullivan, they were very generous. I don't know how much arm twisting that was, Kirk. As I see silver moving up in price, I also see more than the intrinsic value obviously move as well. But Hecla has provided the Idaho silver that made this very significant and beautiful medallion. And our thanks to Hecla for making this award possible. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our ceremony for today, but I would ask the members of the press here today to help us get the word out, as Linda Koppeltraut mentioned earlier. And in running, we actually make a PSA encouraging Idaho people to nominate worthy Idahoans for this honor. So if you know of someone who's deserving for consideration for the state's highest civilian award, please go to my website at gov.idaho.gov and click on the link to nominate someone for the medal. The process is quick, it's easy, and the last year's deadline, or this year's deadline, is quickly approaching. So please go to the website. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here